Hello, everybody. Like, share, comment, subscribe, become a channel member where you'll get access to all archived videos, support black male media, support independent media, super chats enabled, super thanks for the replay gang, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Dr. Thunder Music, all one word. Spell out the word doctor. If you'd like to buy me a sandwich, then go ahead and shoot me a Cash App, Sandwich Gang. This is Two Dads React, and that's my collaboration with Tony from God Rules. And Tony and I are fellow dads, and we grew up together. Been best friends since 5th grade, and yeah, so we are very much acclimated to the life of responsibility and lame dadness. So, yes, Two Dads React. And get your tinfoil hats out because we've got another show on the edge of theorist, if you understand. On the edge of theorist. Get your tinfoil hats out. We'll be talking about some bizarre things that are happening with the UN and some sort of connection with biblical prophecy associated with end times. One of the 12 signs. And we've got all kinds of stuff. We've got all kinds of stuff to talk about. So we're going to go ahead and get this started. Thanks for coming through. Make sure you like the video on the way in and drop a comment on the way in, and I'll shout you out. Two Dads React. Something bizarre. 12 signs in the United Nations. Let's go. Warning: some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. What's happening?
Hey, I'm just trying to get the links out, man. Promote it a little bit.
Yeah. Appreciate that.
So,
So, yeah, we didn't get to do one of these last week, but
oh yeah, that's true.
I guess we're gonna make up for lost time. We've got uh, another show on the edge of theorist, and we do you have your tinfoil hat with you?
Yeah, I think I got it around here
Is you
somewhere.
is around here somewhere? I'm just gonna mine is on the floor under the desk here. I'm just gonna leave it there though. All right, folks, like the video on the way in and drop a comment, and we'll shout you out. Let's go ahead and get started. Do you have anything you want to start us off with?
No, I'm just you can start it off. I'm just trying to get some stuff loaded up in here. All right, I think I'm done actually.
Okay.
Finally.
Well, do you
All
have
right.
any sort of introductory remarks as to maybe sort of
Uh
preview some of the stuff you may have?
yeah. Well, I mean, oh yeah, sure, maybe I could do some of that. Let's see here. One second. What do we got? Well, what did you got? What do you got? Maybe we'll start with yours first, and then we'll get it. I got
Sure.
some stuff, but let's just see what you got.
That's cool. Let's see here. I've got no, not that one. Let's see here. I think I have to go over here. I think this is the one I want to start with. Yes, I've got one I want to start with. Let's see here. See what we got. Yeah, let's start with this one. Yeah. So let's see what she's talking about. This says, remember when 2022 United Nations Global Communications Rep Melissa Fleming tells the WEF, we own the science and we think that the world should know it. Let's see what she's talking about.
Partnered with Google, for example, if you Google climate change, you will, at the top of your search, you will get all kinds of UN resources. We started this partnership when we were shocked to see that when we Googled climate change, we were getting incredibly distorted information right at the top. So we're becoming much more proactive. We own the science, and we think that the world, should know it. And
All right.
I saw an article today. I just couldn't believe it. Basically, now they're even trying to go into just things that have nothing to do with politics, have nothing to do with even science. Like they're going even into like history. Like if you disagree about something in history, it could be just some random thing that you wouldn't think would be something they would really care about, like something that happened during I don't know, Genghis Khan or whatever. They're actually writing articles now on that. They're literally going into like somebody had an idea about this, about Genghis Khan, that he did this, and we're telling you that's not true. And I'm like, how can they even do that?
Yeah.
When obviously there's a lot of ancient historical documents, and there's a lot. It's like they're trying to like curate every single piece of information. Like we don't need a daddy to tell us, what happened in the past or what's science. I mean, you know what I mean? It just seems kind of weird. The whole thing seems weird to me. I mean, they go
Yeah.
way too far with it.
Shout out to
What is
Brian
this?
Tucker. Shout
What
out
is
to
that? Well,
Brian
look at his
Tucker.
hair, man.
Okay, so
What is up with his
this is
hair?
kind of an old video. Uh, is kind of an old video, but you were talking about the science and and there's this they may be trying to drum up a new plandemic. They may be so anyhow. So this is a oldie but a goodie. Let's go ahead.
So I don't know if y'all remember me, but I'm one of the damn fools that didn't take the coronavirus serious. So I went outside, got sick, and lost my hair. I had a hair full of hair. Well, now they prescribed me a vaccine for the coronavirus that I got right here, and I'm gonna take it. And it's supposed to make me feel better and grow my hair and everything back. So we're gonna try this and see what happens. All of it. So I'll let you guys know, okay?
What?
So this is day 2 of the vaccine for the coronavirus, and you can see things are really changing for me here. Like, my hair is really growing back. Like, this vaccine might be the truth. We'll see day 3, okay? Wow. Woke up day 3. Look at this. This vaccine is really working, y'all. Man. Y'all talking about don't trust the white man. Man, look at here. This is day 4. I don't really know what's in this vaccine, but wow. Man, I am so happy, man. Can't wait to go outside again when this is all over. But as you can see, I even got a part right here. Oh, man, I'm looking like Frederick Douglass, man. I'm loving this. Wow. So this is day 5. I don't know what the hell's in this vaccine, but I didn't ask for all this. Now I look like the nigga from the Whispers. This is some bullshit. I look like Bigfoot now. I ain't got a whole goddamn beard. I got some Anthony Davis eyebrows. Nigga, I got a curl. What? This is ridiculous. White man get on my goddamn nerves, man. So
All right.
I've never
Sorry
seen
for a
that.
little bit of language, guys, but you know it's
I
still.
was going to tell you to
original.
get. I was going to tell you to get it, man, because you need some hair up there. But
Oh,
apparently it goes
goodness.
too far. It goes way too far, man. So you don't get that stuff.
All right, what you got for us, man? Well, we met on some wrong.
Well, let's see. We got. So okay, I had something about the United Nations. Where is that at? Here we
Hey,
go.
one second. What's happening, UFO Kamikaze? What's happening, Jilly? Thanks for coming through. Like the video, folks. We got 34 people in here and only 4 likes. Please like the video. Like, share, comment, subscribe. And if you'd like to support the show, or if you'd like to, if you have something you want to discuss, put it in a super chat. Thank you. Keep going.
All right. So while barely anyone was watching, leaders from the United Nations made a 7-year agreement to implement a single, of course, agenda. Now, what was really interesting about this is we had a recent update to the Revelation 12 sign where an asteroid went through a certain region of it. And let me show you that. This is the name of the asteroid. Oh, shoot. Oh, my goodness. Of course, it's got to start showing an ad. Just give me a second here, folks. I had this all updated, but apparently it wasn't good enough. So here we go. This is what the asteroid's called. It's called 6,000 United Nations. This asteroid just went through, and hopefully it doesn't show another ad here. Looks like it's going to, there we go. I had this all updated. Now it's just updating again on me. This is what happened with the Internet Explorer. Now it like every half hour updates if you just pause something. So as you can see here, you have the Revelation 12 sign. This was something that happened 6 years ago on September 23rd, 2017. And it was recently updated with an asteroid that was going through this region right here as if she was delivering a baby. And this asteroid is called 6,000 United Nations. And what's interesting about it is it happened on approximately around September 23rd, 2023. And all of a sudden, recently, around September 22nd through the 23rd, we had a number of things come out all at the same time. We even had a United Nations where a lot of people were speaking and everything. They had this new 7-year agreement they're trying to implement right now. We also had Netanyahu make an address at the UN, United Nations, claiming a peace deal. So this all like ties into Revelation because this Revelation 12 sign only happened back like only a few times in history. It happened at the birth of Jesus 2,000 years ago. And you're going to guess what day it was on, by the way. You want to guess what day it was on? Back in, I think it was like 3 BC or something. I can't remember the exact year, but I remember the exact day. This is according to Dr. Michael Heiser. It was on September, of course, 11th, something like 3
Mm,
BC, when this constellational alignment showed up in the sky. And this is exactly at the time when Jesus was born. That's when
mm,
this happened. So some people say that's when he was born. And of course, that day now means something dark and evil, when actually perhaps that was his birthday. You see what I mean? I just think that's kind of interesting, of course. So now, of course, fast forward till now, it happened in 2017, September 23rd, 2017. And what's interesting about it is that that's about the time when everything started getting strange. You know, it was about 2017 when everything started getting really, like, everything started to change everywhere. You know, people started acting different, particularly our leadership started acting different, trying to pull various things. You know what I mean? So we started seeing that stuff happen on an exponential level after 2017. And of course, what's interesting is at her feet, at in this. So when I say Revelation 12 sign, if you look at the text of Revelation, it is actually describing exactly what you're seeing here. It says there's a crown of 12 stars above her, which there is 12 stars in Leo, and it says that there is there's a dragon, a great red dragon at her feet, and I can actually show you that. I think I have that open here. Maybe, well, maybe I don't have it open here. Okay, so I can go find it really quick. It'll only take me a second. Revelation 12. So there's a dragon at her feet. I can show you that as well. Give me a second to find this thing. Okay. I think this is this it? Let me see if this is it. I'm not quite sure. Nope, this is not it. Okay, just one second here. I got like a million links like usual. Okay, here it is. I think I just found it. All right, here we are. Let me put this in here. There you go. Okay, well, of course, it's going to show an ad. It's show an advertisement. Give it a second here. I can show you guys this. This is really interesting, actually.
all right, here we
So,
go.
okay, as you can see here, there is a snake at her feet, right? Now, the
Right.
snake, and if you look at the Greek in Revelation, it doesn't say dragon, it says serpent. The Greek word is like serpens or something like that.
Mm,
Serpent, I think it's serpentis. I think the Greek word is serpentis, and that's what they translate as the word dragon. Now, of course, a dragon can be a serpent. If you look at the historical description of dragons, I can't remember the frame when this was described, but it was a long time ago. They said that there were dragons with legs, there's dragons with wings, there's dragons without either one. So there are dragons that have no legs, no wings. They're basically snakes. They have a little bit different head than a snake does, though. So this is actually a dragon, and it says in the text that he has 7 heads and 10 horns. There's 7 stars in the head, 10 stars in the tail on this uh, constellation, and actually it's known to have 2 sections to the serpent, and it's called
mm,
serpents. Now here's the crown. It says that he has a crown. 7, I think it's 7 crowns. This is a 7-star constellation above it. Now this 7-star constellation is called Corona Borealis. I've shown this before. So
that's
this all
right.
happened in 2017. So this happened in 2017, and what's interesting about it, like I said, is that we had an update to it this year where an asteroid is going right through here. And the thing is like the devil is trying to, I guess, procure these constellational alignments. Like, you know, it says in the Bible that God uses the stars and constellations for signs and seasons. So signs mean like signs something's going to happen. And obviously, if this has only happened 2 times really in history, it means it's a big thing, because obviously it was at the birth of Jesus. So obviously something huge is going to happen. We're at a nexus point right now. So what I think the devil's trying to do is he's trying to make it like his own. Like he's like, oh, this is my thing. So this is my crown, Corona Borealis. So that's the whole thing from a few
Right.
years ago. Now, then you have this asteroid, 6,000 United Nations. So it's almost like he's trying to unite the world, you know, as one. And this is kind of what I think he's trying to do. Like he's trying to use these like he's trying to make God go along with, like, God, this is my plan. You're gonna go with my plan, kind of thing, like that. Like he obviously he has no control of the stars, but maybe he's trying to like name the stars and put, like, why would you put the name United Nations on a star? That's just really kind of weird, right? So maybe because they knew about this, that this was going to happen, because you can get into these astronomical programs and just like look fast forward to the future and see where all the stars are going to be. So they knew exactly where this thing was going to be at. So they made a 7-year agreement. Of course, this talks in the Bible about a 7-year agreement. We have here peace. They're trying to do peace in Israel. And then, of course, also we have the AI thing. And AI is supposed to bring the world together. So this is what I think ultimately it was his plan, was to try to bring it this direction. And the AI thing, I think we'll get into that later, but I'm kind of wondering what you think about this so far. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's some strange connections there between those events. That is, in particular, like the name United Nations. That seems like a weird 6,000 United Nations. That seems like a weird, like, why would they name it that? That's a that's like oddly, like, that's oddly specific, you know.
Well, it's being born, it's being birthed. Like we're birthing something here, like a new, of course, world, order, which is exactly what they were saying here.
Right.
We're going to make a single agenda, right? So like they're trying, this is like, I feel like it's like the devil trying to like use the stars for his own plans or something like that. That's kind of what I feel like it is. And maybe he's just crossing his fingers, hoping God goes with it or something. I don't know what you know what I mean? It's the devil. We don't know how he works, but that's just kind of my thoughts on it. But
all right, let's see here. Let's keep it moving here. Let's see what this is. What we're talking about here.
Oh my gosh, it finally happened because Americans are on the brink of bankruptcy, and this money story just keeps going from bad to worse. Because first is inflation, which is up in the month of August at 3.67%. And you might think to yourself, well, that's no big deal, it's just 3.67%. But this is your money, and it means for every $1,000 that you make, you're really only able to buy $963 worth of goods, because that remaining $300 and change is just inflated away. And to make matters worse, the inflation in our economy isn't confined to just avocado toast or the occasional cup of coffee. It's actually taken root in the most important things that we buy every day, like gasoline and the cost of keeping a roof over your head. Gasoline prices in this country are getting out of control, and rent prices have increased every month for the last 40 months. That's over 3 years of month over month, the basic cost of having a place to live has increased. But wait, it gets worse, because the Federal Reserve, who is in charge of making sure that the economy doesn't go spiraling down the toilet drain, which, newsflash, they're not very good at their job. They're in charge of combating inflation, and they're trying to, and right now their only option to make that happen is by raising interest rates. Which means if you still don't have a house but you're close, if you buy one now, the cost of your mortgage is going to be higher than it's ever been compared to what the cost of your home is, at least if we look at the last 10 years. But thanks to inflation, in many states, the cost of the home itself is close to or at all-time highs. But wait, it gets even worse, because the Federal Reserve recently released studies showing that household savings in the United States has been going down every month for the last 2 years. Because back in 2021, Americans had roughly $2.1 trillion in savings collectively. And as of July of 2023, that number has dropped to $198 billion. And Americans collectively have been drawing down on their savings at a rate of around $100 billion a month, meaning by the end of September 2023, that's this month, US households will run out of savings collectively. But wait, it gets worse. Because in October, student loans, which have been on pause since the pandemic, are scheduled to kick back in again. So your money now buys you less stuff, while the Federal Reserve raises interest rates against you if you're trying to buy a home, while the cost of rents keep going up every month. While at the same time, student loans are coming into play, so you're gonna have less money in your pocket, and your money doesn't go as far to begin with because of all the inflation. And that's it, I'm done. That is the bleak state of the United States.
There's so much more to that story.
There's more?
So much.
I can't give them more bad news. They're not gonna want to follow my channel if I just have nothing but depressing shit to
you
share.
gotta tell them everything. Tell them about corporate profits.
There's more. Because it would be one thing if Americans as a whole were entering into financial dark times altogether as one United States, but that's not what's actually happening. Because in 2022 and 2023, corporate profits have been at or near all-time highs. A small portion of our society is doing better than they've ever done before. And I personally am all for getting rich. I want to have more money. I want you to have more money. I think we should live in a country where we all have the opportunity to be doing better tomorrow than we did yesterday, collectively. Some of us aren't going to make it, but if we live in a place where all of us have the chance to, that's exciting. But that's not what's happening. A small group of people are getting richer not by providing more value to society, but by extracting value from it. For example, Blackstone, a private equity firm on Wall Street, led by this man, Stephen Schwarzman, who's the CEO of Blackstone. This guy took home over $250 million in profits in 2022. Pfizer's CEO, Albert Bourla, got a 36% pay increase in 2022 and took home $33 million. And we all know why Pfizer did so well in 2021 and 2022. And if that's not disaster capitalism, I don't know what is. Because what's happening in the United States definitely feels like it's unsustainable. And it also sadly feels like the government is on the side of corporations rather than the people. Because remember the Pfizer CEO that took home $33 million last year? In that same year, 2022, Pfizer signed a $3.2 billion deal with the US government, meaning our tax dollars are funding Pfizer and helping their company hit record profits, allowing them to give their CEOs massive pay boosts with money that comes from US taxpayers. And it's really frustrating because I wasn't a great student in school, but I seem to remember the role of government being something like regulating big businesses to protect the people from big businesses, overstepping their bounds and doing things that are just not good for society. Right now, in 2023, it seems like government is aligned with those same corporations at the expense of the American people. So the question is, what are we all going to do if things keep going this way? Is the answer stop buying the avocado toast, which is keeping us all in poverty? Or maybe we all just start collecting rainwater so we can grow our gardens off-grid to sustain ourselves.
Actually, that's illegal in 11 states.
It's illegal to collect rainwater in 11 states?
You can't do it.
Are you kidding me?
Not kidding. And actually, you live in one of those 11 states.
Well, shit.
That's funny, dude.
So what do you think?
Well, I mean, check this out. This is why. I mean, look at this graph here. This is from the Fed. They have graphs showing how much money they printed, and look how much they printed in 2020. This is what we're seeing. This is the reason why everything's costing more. And here's the thing, like they're talking about printing again. I've seen some people say that they're probably going to print again. And the reason why they're printing is because it's a broke system and they're just trying to keep it going a little longer. It's like, the wheels are falling off and they're just trying to keep it going a little longer. So if we are all running out of money, this already pretty much past the 0 point, he said that essentially everyone's savings is gone around September 23rd. That means we're into negative territory now. So people are going to start basically losing money and being negative on their accounts. I think I had a dream. I had this really strange dream about people mass exiting from paying their mortgages. Like there's going to be this huge group of people that just do a mass exodus and just stop paying their mortgage altogether. And if that does happen, the banks are going to completely go under and the entire thing's going to fall apart. But I mean, that may actually happen because of the way things are set up right now, to where inflation keeps going up, while at the same time, wages have actually went down. Like if you look at 2021 to 2022, we actually went down slightly. Like the mean, it went down like $500 while inflation went up. So like your money's not even going sideways. It's even slightly going down, while at the same time, everything continues to cost more. Obviously, you can't make money out of thin air unless you're, the government, and you can just print it and steal it from everybody's wallet, their purchasing power. Because in reality, the reason why you can't afford anything is because they did this, because they took it off the gold standard back in 72, and they just keep printing money. And so you're being compensated at a lesser value for your productivity than before, because what they do is they just print the money in the background, like in 2020, and they gave 60% of it to their friends, their bank friends, their corporate friends. And then the 40% they gave us in stimulus payments. So that 60% that they gave to everybody else is actually stealing from our wallets. So that's why you can't afford anything. back in like the 70s, they had one person per family working, and now it's two persons per family. The problem is there's not a third person. So once you reach that's, once you get to that point where you got $0 in the bank, you're not making enough money to pay your bills, and you got two people working in the home, what are you going to do? You're gonna have your kids work? You're gonna
Well, yeah, I mean,
get a
because
second wife? Like, what?
something. Well, and it's funny because
Rob banks?
we
Rob
know,
banks? Stop paying your mortgage?
yeah. Well, we know that kids are staying with their parents for longer. You
Yeah,
got
I
like
guess it could be
30-year-olds.
working.
So there you go. So
I don't know, man.
there's your third income.
Well, I mean, yeah, you know what I'm saying though. The point is that it's getting to the point where it's not sustainable at all.
Yeah, of course not.
And so I think it's going to just keep going like this. And actually, if they do print money again, it's just game over. It's just total game over. I think at that point, and I think they already know this. I think they already know this. That's why they set this all up. That's why they got the digital, currency coming. That's why they're trying to do all this weird stuff in the background, is because they know it's going to fall apart. That's why Gates is buying up all the farmland. He knows it's going to fall apart. He wants to own the things that have value during a depression. And during a depression, you have to have the right business model to succeed. And that's owning farmland. Like, everybody has to eat. You know what I mean? It's not rocket science. So if you have to eat, that's the first thing you're going to buy is food. You need food before you need a shelter, right? So of course, real estate would probably be second, but I'm thinking a lot of our cities are going to be looking like Detroit soon. And I can get into that later, but I got evidence that a lot of our cities are going to turn like, what happened to Detroit, right? Half the businesses left, half the people left. There's entire regions that are just empty.
RoboCop.
It's like a ghost town in some areas.
RoboCop is what happened to Detroit. RoboCop. Yeah. I know.
Well, that's going to happen to a lot more cities soon here. I'll show you that next. Maybe you got some stuff.
Yeah. RoboCop is what happened. That's right.
Was that in Michigan when they had that movie? RoboCop?
It was in Detroit. It was filmed in Detroit. It's Detroit. And it is Detroit. It is Detroit. I mean, RoboCop. Yeah.
Wasn't your dad, didn't he grow up in Detroit?
No.
Oh, okay. Chicago?
Ohio.
Was he Chicago? Ohio.
No,
Oh,
Ohio.
he was in a big city though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why I thought of Detroit. Okay. Go ahead, man.
All right. Let's see what we got here.
Now, President Truman arrives to attend the last session of the conference to mark its official closing, a day which the whole civilized world has awaited anxiously that it might judge results. And the world, as well as San Francisco, rejoices over great progress made. At the Opera House, last hours of the convention as delegates of the steering committee honor Edward Stettinius, who later resigned as Secretary of State to become permanent chairman of the American delegation. And Lord Halifax calls dramatically for a standing vote on the completed charter.
And it is now my duty, my honor and my privilege in the chair to call for a vote on the approval of the Charter of the United Nations.
Nation by nation, the delegates stand up for the great new charter they hammered out together. 50 nations standing side by side, unanimous for peace. Now, final signing of the charter. China signing first as the first nation attacked in this war. Dr. Wellington Koo's signature topping the long list to come. Then for Russia, Ambassador Gromyko commits his country also to the agreements and objectives decided upon after days and nights of compromise and cooperation. 4 main agencies upon which the world now puts its hope. A powerful Security Council having final military authority. A General Assembly representing all member nations. A Social and Economic Council to tackle the causes of war. And an international court to judge any international disputes. The signing is done. The great charter is completed. This draft of mankind's deepest hopes already a historic document. perhaps the Magna Carta of peace-loving humanity itself. Now Stettinius introduces the final speaker of the San Francisco Convention.
The President of the United States of America.
Truman.
If we had had this charter a few years ago, and above all, the will to use it, millions now dead would be alive. If we should falter in the future in our will to use it, millions now living will surely die. There's a time for making plans, and there's a time for action. The time for action is here now.
Today, the allied world salutes these representatives of 50 nations. They have made a beginning, a brave beginning that can build a mighty structure for peace. Out of a world of agony and total war has come a charter that must mark a turning point in human history. A new way lies ahead. The world must take this way through unity and cooperation to a lasting peace.
All right. So just a little bit of history on the United Nations and what got it started and some of the countries that were there in the beginning. It seems that
Do you see the
what the original goals and what it seems like the now goals of that organization seem to be quite a bit different.
Yeah. Do you see this thing that came out from Canada? Justin Trudeau with the he has honoring someone that fought against Russia. Did you see this? It kind
No,
of
I didn't see
relates to this, actually. It kind of relates. Maybe you show it real quick. It actually relates because they showed that Russia and China were the first ones to sign the charter for the United Nations. Now, of course, Trudeau was essentially exalting a guy that was one of those NAZIs. I don't know if you know what I'm saying. That was fighting Russia back then, obviously on the side of Germany. And he didn't, for some reason, somehow Justin Trudeau had no clue, and the whole entire Canadian government had no clue that this guy was one of these. And then the very next day that he apologized was during Yom Kippur, which is kind of funny, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like how clueless, I don't really believe he's this clueless. How can he be this clueless that you exalt a guy that was part of Germany defeating Russia back then? You know, it's like he was like 98 years old guy or something. But it's just funny because now in Ukraine over there is actually an entire military unit that are NAZIs, and we're sending all our money to them, right? Like we're literally sending our money to our government is sending money to these type of people, and we're supposed to think we're on the right side. Like what kind of joke is this? You know, and we're just wasting our money on another country that, matter of fact, we're actually, our own government is laying off employees while we're actually paying for their employees. We're actually sending, I can't remember how much money it was, but we're actually supplying money to their entire government, like multiple people in their government, while at the same time we're firing our own government, which is kind of funny. Like, why is it they're more important than people here? Why are they more important than the people who live in Hawaii that got $700 checks for that, lost their entire home and everything? They lost everything and they get a $700 check, but then for some reason, people that we don't have anything to do with are getting huge amounts of money, vast sums of money from our country. And like most people in our country, I don't even know if they support the thing in the first place. You know what I mean? I don't know. It just seems really ridiculous.
So something that, and I think I've mentioned this on this show before, something that really kind of irks me is during the election season, you know, Biden and Kamala, they were all, you know, talking this big reparations talk, you know, oh yeah, I'm totally for reparations. We should be doing reparations. You know, slavery was an atrocity, blah, blah, blah. We need to do something like this. So they're talking all this stuff. Our country promised folks, 40 acres and a mule. We need to do something that's at least equivalent to the value of that, blah, blah, blah. They're talking all this big talk, meeting with folks and all like this. Then when they get in office, then they change their tune. Well, we don't have the money for this. We don't have that, blah, blah, blah. But then immediately they have the money for this WAR. And what's a smack in the face is the side that we've aligned with is the sign with freaking NAZIs.
Yeah, it's basically we're being used. I see it as we're being used. And actually our government, I saw this article that said if you take the top 20 richest, it might have been 100 richest billionaires in America and took all their money and put it in a pile, it wouldn't even cover like a few months of the budget for America, because our government actually is the one who has all the money. They're the ones that are literally taking the money from us. It's the GOV. They have so much money, it's ridiculous. We're talking, look at their budget. It's like 8 trillion or some ridiculous amount of money, and they can't even spend it. They already are, they have to close down the government because they already spent all their money. And this is the second time this year they closed down the government because they ran out of money, because they're spending so much money so quickly. It's like a drunken sailor, man. Like they're spending, like they have a budget. They're supposed to spend this much money, and they already went past their budget twice in 1 year. Yep. Where's all this money going? Right? Like, what are they doing with all this money? And this is an ungodly, I guess is probably a good word, amount of money, dude. This is a ridiculous amount of money. You take all the top 100 billionaires, add all their money together, and it doesn't even support the budget for 1 year for a government. That's how much money they're spending. It's just unbelievable how much money they're spending. And then they're going after millionaires. IRS is going after all those millionaires, dodging a couple thousand in taxes while the government's spending trillions, and they can't even keep to their budget one time, and they have to fix it. They had to shut the government down twice in 1 year. How ridiculous can you be? You know what I mean? Like, you can't even like if I kept overspending and then like racking up credit card debt, shouldn't it be taken away from me or something? Like, right? Like, why are these people running this government? They like don't even care about us. They don't even care.
Yeah, folks, please like the video. We got 67 people in here. Please like the video. Like the video. Like the video. Like the video. Thank you. All right, I got something else. Let's see here. Let's see here. I've got some more. What is that? Okay, this is lighthearted and kind of spooky. Okay, here we go. I don't know if you can make that out. Let's do it one more time.
Maybe it's a cat, but it looks like a greyhound.
It is a dog.
It
It's
looks
a dog.
really thin. Like
it is a dog.
Oh, it's a dog. Dang. I wish I could do that. If I fall from that far, I don't think I'm going to be landing like that.
No, that was crazy stuff.
I'll be like, I don't think I can get up. That's probably what happened to me.
Let's see here. And I got some more UN type stuff. Let's see what they're talking about.
The United Nations, like a global group chat, was born on October 24th, 1945. It's like the world's most serious party planning committee, focused on international cooperation, peace, and preventing world wars, with a lot less confetti and way more resolutions.
Okay, so that's the press on it, but we know there's some other things. There's some other things afoot.
Well, they don't let you go to Antarctica, for one. They don't let you go to Antarctica. They made a treaty there that you can't even go there for some reason. But anyway, that's something completely different, though. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, so and we've been talking about how, money's an issue. And last week or a couple weeks ago, I showed this thing. It was kind of comedy, but this guy, he's confronting somebody else because they called him they told him that he was stealing. He said, "This is not stealing. This is shoplifting," or something.
Oh, I remember that.
You remember that?
Yeah.
But this is like a regular thing now. Like, stores are getting chopped. Matter of fact, and this was.
Oh yeah, I got some stuff on that too.
Yeah, this is before. Look, this is before. Was it before the pandemic, or it might have been around the time of the pandemic? I had a conversation with this woman that used to work at this convenience store that I go past all the time, like to and from work. And she stopped working there and she started working at like an AutoZone. And so I saw her at that AutoZone. I was like, "Hey, good to see you like this." And then we just started talking. I asked her something, and she was telling me how many problems that particular store had, and like how much shoplifting there is, like ridiculous amount of shoplifting. Like they can't keep stuff on the shelves, and this is a convenience store, so theoretically it's small enough so that the people that are the attendants would be able to sort of see if people are doing like sketchy stuff in the store, like if they're like putting stuff in their coat and stuff like that. But there's so much theft, millions of dollars worth of theft each year. And
Wow.
And of course this is getting a lot worse, because now it's not just a matter of stealing because you want like a candy bar. Now it's like people are stealing because they don't know where their next meal's coming from, because of how jacked up
it's going to get worse.
The economy is.
It's going to get worse, man. I think it's going to get, besides the fact that they're telling you it's okay to steal. So we have a culture that's like, yeah, it's okay to steal because you deserve it. And then on top of that, everyone's broke. So you got like a culture saying it's okay to steal. I see this thing going south really quickly.
Yeah. Now look at this. This is you want to talk about like in plain sight, like really like aggressive stuff. Here, check it out.
Sometimes in life,
I'm turning down the. Yeah, I turned down the volume.
Oh my goodness, he's trying to pick it up.
Yeah,
Those
check
are
it out.
Light, man.
Look,
but light,
look. You see, look. They have stuff over their face. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those things are not light, dude.
Okay.
You're gonna have fun getting it on that truck. It's gonna fall apart. Oh, they got it on there.
Look. You see how much of a hurry they're in? Now, why would that be? Look. Check it out.
Oh, they're at a store.
They're in front of a Lowe's, man. They stole the freaking tractor in front of the Lowe's.
Don't put it outside.
That's right. They should have left it outside.
Did you see Amazon's new headquarters they're building? It looks like the Tower of Babel, man.
Oh,
like this is the kind of stuff we're talking about. Like, you think this is a coincidence? They're building literally almost a Tower of Babel for the new headquarters for Amazon. That's just really strange. Also, I think it's not the United Nations. It's the European. Was it the European Union or whatever? They have a building that looks like the Tower of Babel as well. And of course, I think that's actually one of the things the devil's trying to do is he's trying to unite everything together, like the Tower of Babel. The Tower of Babel is all humanity uniting, essentially doing something against God, and then God separated everybody by language and everything. So it's like the devil's trying to recreate the Tower of Babel again by uniting everything together. So obviously,
well, I think I'm gonna tell you what I think that the internet, what that represents in programs like Google Translate, all of that stuff is an attempt to to return it to one language, right? We basically are on one language now, and
Maybe
yeah,
English. I
and that's
mean,
where I think that's that's when it another, in my estimation, that's another sign that we're on the down there.
right. I mean, and of course, we're talking about this over on my website, grvideos.com, where we're getting into sort of deep on these type of topics and sort of what I think God is actually trying to do as well, because there's a number of people predicting things that will happen in the future. A lot of people think it's just going to be really bad and it's going to end really bad, which honestly, that could be the case. We don't know, but
Dude,
there are some people saying that it's actually going to turn around for a short time, for a little while, and things are going to really surprise people. They're going to see some miraculous things happen
send the
in the near
asteroid.
future.
Dude, send the asteroid. It's done.
Well, God can turn things around, man. I mean, look at Israel. There's like these
Yeah,
different
he's gonna turn.
parts of.
He's gonna turn it around by destroying this place.
Well, I mean, look at
Send the
Ezekiel,
asteroid.
man. Like, you read some of those stories, it sounds really, really bad. Like everything's gone. Just like the whole thing's just went to hell in a handbasket. And somehow he's able to turn it around, even in those cases. So you never know, man. I know it does look bad though. Send the
All right.
asteroid. What? Send the asteroid? Come on, man. What do you
Speaking
want?
of
Like,
bad,
you want like Deep Impact here? Deep Impact.
okay. Speaking of bad, let's look at this.
You had a company called Lucifer Publishing to write out the philosophical underpinnings of the United Nations. She turned it into something called Lucis Trust, which still to this day exists at the United Nations as a meditation room with a big black cube in the middle and 1,000 points of light coming through the roof. And she wrote the 10 rules for the one world government, which still exists at the United Nations today. And they are, okay, take God and prayer out of education. Number 2, reduce parental authority over children. Number 3, destroy the traditional Christian family structure. Number 4, if sex is free, make abortion easy and legal. 5, make divorce easy and legal, free people of the concept of traditional marriage. 6, make homosexuality the alternative lifestyle. 7, debase art, make it run mad. 8, use media to promote and change mindset. 9, create an interfaith movement without God. And 10, get governments to make all these laws and get the churches to endorse them.
Right.
Let's just say the one thing not welcome at the United Nations is God.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about. We get into deep about stuff like this on my website, grvideos.com, because we go through the occult and what Blavatsky has said and things like this. She's actually the one that convinced India that they were one religion. So India, actually, in southern India, there was actually a ton of Christians living in southern India. And there's, matter of fact, some of the temples, if you go and look at their ancient writings, are actually like Christian scripture. So there's it's really kind of strange, actually. And so that what Blavatsky did is she went to India and met with Gandhi and all these guys and was like basically convincing them to tell the India that they're all one religion called Hinduism. And that was their official religion forever, which is actually not the case. Like southern India was like, they had a ton of Christians. And Thomas Adatar actually went to India and converted a lot of people there. So she was actually behind a lot of these New Age movements. She's behind, this interfaith movement. A lot of these mega pastors like Rick Warren, he like pushes this interfaith, like Chrislam, essentially like saying Jesus is the same between Islam and Christianity.
Yeah.
So all these guys are like working for the devil pretty much. And actually a lot of these top level ministers, I think even Pope Francis is one of them as well. We get into all that stuff. And I talk about like some, like this movie, The Pope's Exorcist. We actually get into how the demon is talked about in that movie is actually probably talking about Lucifer himself. It's called Asmodeus. I think it's actually talking about Lucifer because I get into like the history and how it all happened with the Spanish Inquisition. So we get into a ton of crazy stuff like this over my website.
Yeah. Remember, I was talking to you about that a couple of weeks ago. We talked a little bit about that movie, and we went through some of the names of the demons and stuff, and all of that. But yeah, that's cool.
I think it's literally Lucifer he was dealing with. Asmodeus claimed to be from the Spanish Inquisition, which started in 1478. That's what I believe Lucifer started getting into the Vatican was around 1478. So I think that was actually literally the devil that he was dealing with, that he was trying to cast out. And that's probably why he had a little bit of a hard time doing it, because the Vatican let his foot in the door already. Because I think the Vatican already has got, essentially the devil, I think, lives through the Vatican. He's already got his way in quite far. I think the current Pope is part of it. That's just he's the last Pope on the prediction for, you've heard of the Saint Malachi prophecy? It essentially lists the next 112 popes. Like he wrote it like 1000 AD. And it's like very accurate. It like tells you all the mottos for each Pope. And we're on the last Pope. On the list, we're on the last Pope right now. The last one. This is the last one, period, according to the prediction. So makes you kind of wonder, right?
Well, that's like I'm saying, man. Send the asteroid. All right, so let's see here. I got some more stuff for us. Let's see here. We got this one too. This is pretty interesting. Let's see here.
Yep, and here's another video which is a little bit worrying. Stu Peters and Astrid Stuckelberger. She used to work at the UN.
Dr. Astrid Stuckelberger is a former WHO employee now turned whistleblower. She spent more than 20 years at the University of Geneva in Switzerland, and she's worked as president of the Geneva International Network on Aging. What do you think the end game is? What are they going to try to do, and how do we stop them?
Very good question. Their end game is much slower than what we think, but it is persistent. The end game, the first end game, will be in May 2024 at the World Health Assembly, where they will accept and adopt hands up, Article 19 of the Constitution. It's very easy. You need just 2/3 of hands up that you corrupted. And they will accept the International Health Regulation amendments, which is a real dictatorship on who decides. The Tedros, who has not been elected, officially, normally, can decide, if there's a pandemic or not. And then the second text is what we call the CA plus, the convention or treaty, an agreement, which is not signed, but it's not finished. Then the UN Assembly in September will, all the heads of state and the whole system will say, we got them. That's what they think. That's the propaganda that they are doing, like we just discussed at the beginning. But I think that the only thing to do is to say no, to not pay anything, and to realize that our governments are part of the corporation. It's a corporation. The UN is today a big monopoly corporation game. It is not at all representing our populations. It is just on their own. They're on their own. So if they're on their own, let them go on their own, because they are deciding themselves about the policy, about what we're going to say in the media. They're voting. They have 177 points for the UN Assembly for the next 3 weeks. Just watch that very carefully. And they are deciding their own little game, and they're voting for us. But this is not acceptable. They're using our money. They're using us like, little Las Vegas games, and they're putting even all the vaccines are actually shares on the market. So they're playing with us, and we have to get out of this. So they have to get out of our way.
Yeah, so Astrid Stuckelberger has been saying this for quite a while now, at least a year. If you just go onto Rumble and type her in, I'll type her name in the comments. Yeah, she's got some mind-blowing stuff. She used to work at the UN, and she talks about the constitution of the UN. Constitution is normally something that governments have, huh? So, yeah, there's something very spooky about that. There's a podcast where she goes through some of the constitution. It's nefarious. It's nefarious. Some people might be thinking, okay, yeah, but what can we do about it? Well, to be fair, if I could recommend one thing, it would be to go to stand in the park and to start going to some marches and protests. That's definitely recommended. I've been doing that for the last couple of years now. I go to Totnes, Exeter. There's a few things which have been going on in Torbay. And yeah, it's a growing community of people. It's definitely the way forward, especially with the way things are going, and there are solutions there. So so that is one solution, actually turning up and going to some marches. I recommend that. They're family orientated as well. I'm not even joking, right? I think some people might have a different opinion because, or a different interpretation of what they might be. Like you might see the rioting and stuff, but it's not like that. It's, you know, the families in that have moved on. That's later on, right? You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, at least I know the one in Totnes, we have families come in, people talking, family members talking, professionals talking. We've got a professor talking at the moment, Professor Lister. He's been there for quite some time. Anyway, yeah, that's the answer. I think that's one of the answers to this. And what is it? Mass non-compliance, basically.
It was kind of interesting. She said something kind of strange at the end, but a lot of what she said, it was interesting because I don't actually watch Stu. I've seen him before, but I've seen a few different things he's put out, but like he doesn't always have the best information. But it sounds kind of interesting what she was saying though, about like, you know, did she actually work at the UN? I'm kind of wondering. I mean, obviously it acts like a government. It started out, it's just like the UN, the European Union, and NATO. They all started at a certain place. Like you showed that original video of the United Nations starting out as just simply like a peace treaty. Like everybody's just decided we're not going to have any more war, all this kind of stuff. Let's just, you know, try to work these things out so we don't have future wars, right? Now it's sort of turned into this like governmental organization, just like the European Union. European Union originally originated just to, oh, let's unite these countries so we're stronger, kind of like the United States. We'll just unite them. And then it became into this big bureaucracy that's like trying to control everything. And then also NATO. NATO started out, you know, like we were just trying to, you know, protect America and our interests. And then it turned into this like big, huge, like green monster trying to gobble up everything and control everything. So it's like they start off a certain way and then they go awry very quickly. Perhaps that was the original intent, is that they wanted it to go awry later, you know what I mean? But what do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting stuff that they were saying.
Stu has some weird stuff on sometimes. I just wanted to mention that because like he put out some weird things and like they end up not being true, but he's got some good stuff too he puts out. But
all right, let's see here. We've got this here.
The United Nations has been preparing since 2016. Being like a lion with eagle's wings. It is ironic that this is the statue which the United Nations chose to represent international peace and security. The Bible says in 1 Thessalonians 5:3, "For when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." The Bible says that at the end of this age, unbelievers will ask for peace and safety, but we as Christians know there will be no peace and safety until the Lord returns to rule. International Peace and Security statue was recently installed outside of the United Nations headquarters, and it's being likened to an end times beast described in Revelation 13:2.
Okay, so that's the thing. I had to kind of screen record that one.
So okay. I was like confused by that. I thought you were playing like two videos or something. Okay, so basically,
at the beginning there's like some voiceover that goes over top of the video, but after that you can start hearing what they're saying.
So he's saying basically there's this huge statue in front of the United Nations. Is this kind of like the statue like in front of the Hadron Collider, right? CERN or something? Like you have this weird statue where it essentially
right there behind. You can see it right there behind Obama. You can see it. What is that?
It's kind of hard to see. So it looks kind of like an end time beast, he's saying, or something.
Yeah.
It does look weird. I can't really see it very well, but it looks weird.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Game of Thrones. Like it has like all these jagged things sticking up. Is that right? What is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they always pick these really weird statues. Just like Amazon's got this basically Tower of Babel headquarters, and you got like the European Union has like the Tower of Babel, like, and then they have like these end time Revelation looking things for statues and stuff. It's like maybe you're standing for something evil. I don't know. What is that?
Okay, so I've got a couple. I've got a couple lighthearted things because we've been pretty heavy today. But I think maybe let's have you you give us some more stuff here for a little bit, but then I've got a couple lighthearted things.
Well, you know what I'm wondering about is, okay, so like I told you earlier, that with this Revelation 12 sign, obviously God intends it to mean something, and it means something huge. We know it happened 2,000 years ago when the King of Kings was born. It happened in 2017, so clearly it means something. Now the devil, he's essentially trying to procure this for his own agenda. And like I said, we have this asteroid that was flying through as if she was delivering this asteroid, and it's called 6,000 United Nations. Now what's interesting is, of course, another thing in the Revelation is it talks about the Gog-Magog invasion. And that's that's like the last war. And it talks, and there's a lot of people that have had dreams about this war. And one of these people is named Henry Groover. I've talked about him on my channel, and I have it around here somewhere. I'm pretty sure. Here we go. He had a dream, and actually there's hundreds of people that have had pretty much the same dream. That you go look on YouTube, type in World War III, Russia, China, you'll find tons of people that had pretty much the exact same dream. And what's really weird about it is you don't really find, like, if it was just a random thing and people are just having random dreams, they wouldn't all be saying the same thing. Like, everyone's saying the same thing with their dream. This guy had this dream back in 1986, basically about how China comes in from this direction, Russia comes in from the other direction, right here. And in the dream, Prince Charles is King Charles. Now, King Charles, he's already king now. And obviously, he's only going to live for so long. So this is supposed to happen while he's alive. I mean, he's already he's in his 70s. He's not going to live forever. So it's going to be in the some not so distant future. And what's interesting is, of course, the Gog-Magog invasion. It talks about Russia going after essentially Israel. And it's kind of long story short, because like, it doesn't say Russia. It says ancient names for countries that where Russia sits, pretty much, and Arab nations sit, that go after Israel in Bible prophecy. And well, who's in the way? Who's in the way? Who protects Israel? We do. So we would be the first ones to go, and then Israel would be second. And that's what it says in a lot of these dreams, is that basically they go after America first, and then they go after Israel second. And then after that, Russia and China fight each other because they were working together doing all this. And then China thinks Russia's gone too far, so they end up attacking Russia. So they all fight each other in the end too. So this is supposedly how it's supposed to go for the World War III. And what's interesting is, you see with this Ukraine war, it seems like we're essentially egging them on, right? Like, we're actually sending money nonstop over there to fight them. And in a sense, we're egging them on. So it's almost like the devil's trying to egg on World War III is kind of what I'm trying to get at. So I kind of feel like that's what's going on. I feel like the devil's just trying to push his agenda, and his agenda is the United Nations. And of course, once this World War III happens, then he could essentially come in and say, peace deal type of thing. And it would be like the Antichrist type of thing. You know what I mean? So I kind of feel like that's what he's trying to push for, but that's just my thoughts on it.
Okay. Well, we've been pretty doom and gloom today, which, that's kind of what we do.
You think so?
But let me tell you, let me tell you,
there's possibility it could be good. Never know.
There is a silver lining, and every once in a while, you have to get a win. You have to get a win. Okay. Now, we're dads, you have your kids, I have my kids. And so this just, fills my heart with joy. Let's see what this most adorable betrayal is.
Hey, mama, can you say mama's name?
One more time. Daddy gets the win. Let's go one more time.
Hey, mama, can you say mama's name?
Hey, Daddy for the win. Let's go. Dads, get some. Let's go.
That's funny.
and, and then now this next one, this is to be commended. This is to be commended, but Dad, you do have to know that you're not as young as you used to be. So I'm just going to say that as a preface. So Dad tried to save the day. Let's see what happens.
Hero comes along with the strength. Oh! He needs some milk.
Oh,
wait a minute. Let's go. Wait a minute.
Was that his
We got to
daughter
get
or
that one
something?
again. We need that one again. Here we go. Turn the music off so I don't get. So I think that there were two problems. There are two problems with that. Okay. The one problem. Okay, hold up here. So one of the issues is he's not as young as he was. He's probably not as strong as he was, you know. But then the second thing is she ain't as small as she was either. So he has
she looked
a couple things working against him.
We're not gonna guess her weight, but I'm guessing it for him. It's a little too much, you know. So
it's a little bit too much. It's a little bit too much. Anyhow, that's all. I mean, that's all I have. If you want to sort of
I don't know,
recap some things, or if you want to go back over something.
Well, I feel like also another aspect. I mean, because of course this is all the stuff we've been talking about has been very negative, obviously, but there are actually people predicting that have had predictions come true that it's going to turn around. And of course, I think the only way that's going to happen is if God is the one doing it, because the way things are, it's just really bad, right? Very bad. But there's a guy named Mark, Taylor. He's had a number of predictions come true, and he predicted Roe v. Wade would be overturned, and it was overturned. He predicted many things that came true, and he's predicting that essentially something's going to turn around and God's going to miraculously bring America back, which I know it sounds impossible at this point, but I mean, he's had a number of things come true, and it's not like God can't do something like that. He clearly could. I mean, it's not like we've seen this in the past. We've seen this in the Old Testament, things that look impossible that turned around, you know what I mean? Like the Moses in Egypt. If you imagine your people are enslaved in Egypt, and people just assume that if you were in that situation, you'd think it was impossible to get out of it, right? But somehow God was able to make it happen, right? So there are people saying that. So
yeah,
obviously,
he parted the
ultimately
Red
in the end,
Sea.
there is going to
Yeah, he parted the Red Sea. That's how he did it. But let me tell you, I have to say this.
But I'm just saying, you're gonna say asteroid, right?
Look. No, sort of. But I'm just saying. I only think I'm not totally hopeless. Okay.
Okay.
I do believe that the second coming of Christ will fix all of this. So I do have a hope in that. But that's the only thing. I think that's the only thing that fixes the amount of depravity, just the amount of just garbage and just this terrible stuff that is going on right now. I think the only thing that fixes that is the second coming of Christ. And I have to say, there's going to be a purge. A lot of folks ain't going to make it. I'm saying straight is the way, straight is the way, narrow is the path to salvation, right? I think that there's going to be a lot of carnage. And yeah,
there's going to be a lot of people, obviously. I'm not saying that's not going to be bad in the end. I think there will be I think there will end up being a World War III and all this stuff. I think it will happen eventually. I'm just saying that I think there might be a short turnaround. So many years, who knows how many years. It sounds impossible, but I feel like it might happen. And I know you think it's pretty much like only the second coming of Christ that will do it, but I understand what you're saying. But so,
send the asteroid.
Anyway, send the asteroid.
Basically, I just want. I don't know, man. It's
send the asteroid.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. But anyhow, that's all right. We still had a fun show. We had a good show, and thanks everybody for coming through. Thank you very much for folks coming through, and make sure you all come back tomorrow morning for my open panel, Rolling Thunder open panel. That'll be 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. My cousin actually watches your show, man. Like I didn't even know that.
Does. Oh, how
Yeah,
about that?
also the guy that works with me, my researcher, he watches your show sometimes too as well. He said he watched one from this morning or something. You were talking about personality types or something. Yeah,
Oh,
so
no,
like,
that was from Wednesday night. That was from Wednesday night show.
Okay.
Yes, and yeah, that was a fun show. That's a show I have called Getting Ish Done. Getting Ish Done with Ike and Dr. Thunder. And
you talked
and that's
about Mel Tucker too or something, the MSU coach.
Yep, that was the show. It was one of my Rolling Thunder shows. I did that. It was a couple weeks ago that I covered that.
Yeah, my cousin mentioned he watched that. I was like, oh man, I didn't know he watched you. Because I was surprised he even remembered you from way back when. Because like you didn't see all my cousins that often. I'm pretty sure you maybe saw them a couple times, at most, right? So,
well, thanks to tell your cousin thanks for watching. So anyhow, well, that's it. That's our time. Y'all be well. Take care. Like the video on the way out. Like, share, comment, subscribe, become a channel member where you'll get access to all our archive videos. Support independent media. Super chats enabled. Super thanks for the Replay Gang, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Dr. Thunder Music, all one word. Spell out the word doctor. And if you want to buy me a sandwich, Sandwich Gang, shoot me a Cash App. All of that is still in play. You can do that after the video is even not live anymore. So I appreciate all the support, and thanks for folks for coming in and supporting the show. And we will see you next week for another riveting episode of Two Dads React. See you later.
See you guys.